Hello, welcome back. Let's spend some time today talking about the physical body and the real purpose of the physical body. Hence the title of this section. We've moved on to the next section in chapter 8 of the text of A Course in Miracles. We're on section 7 now, and it's entitled The Body as a Means of Communication, which should give you every clue as to what we're about to discuss today. Now, if you're familiar with A Course in Miracles, if you're a long-standing student of the course, you may be asking, what body? Exactly. Exactly. What you see when you look in the mirror that I often point to on these videos as a way of a, well, visual illustration, this is not you. This isn't me. This is a pixelated image on your screen. It's not me. Nor is this compound body of 80% water surrounded by a semi-permeable membrane that we call skin that appears to set us off, separate us from other separate 80% sacks of water running around. It's a separation device. The physical body is not us. It's not you. That is why this course makes it explicitly clear. You are not a body. I am not a body. There are 20 consecutive lessons in the workbook for students. By the way, lessons 201 through 220 all devote themselves to the singular fact that we're not a body. The refrain, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. With the rhyme scheme deliberate so it sticks in our mind, that is placed deliberately right in the midst of the workbook for students, and the idea that we are not a physical body appears throughout this course. And you know it. Our biology textbooks tell us we are a human body. Our societies tell us we're a human body, that we're individuals, independent, self-sustaining survival units, ravaging, consumptive machines. Our economic systems just want us to buy stuff, consume, gobble. Yes, greedy, carnivorous monsters. Yes, consumers, eat. And we all know that there's more to it than that. Deep down, you know that you're not a physical body. All appearances in the mirror to the contrary. So how can I sit here and assert this? You're interested in spirituality. You're on what we call the spiritual path, and it makes no difference what tradition or traditions you follow, if any. Even if you don't follow any at the moment, you're still interested because you're watching this. This is all about A Course in Miracles, and A Course in Miracles is not a manual in how to manifest more stuff in your life. It's not about how to attract a bigger bank account, a Mercedes-Benz, a 2-week yacht cruise in the Aegean, as nice as that sounds. It's not about that. This is about learning to perceive truly so you can wake up. That's what this is about. And you know that you're not a physical body because you're interested in spirituality. This very notion is what has us setting out on what we call the spiritual path in the first place. It's this sense that there's got to be more to it than this. Of course there is. Of course there is. Naturally. We're naturally unlimited, and this is a limitation. When you see yourself as an ego, siding with the ego, as we say, when you think that you're an individual self-sustaining survival unit, you limit yourself because you are not an individual self-sustaining survival unit on this spinning ball of rock, competing for what we all deem to be scarce and limited resources. This world is a limitation. No matter how many beautiful sunsets you may see, no matter how beautiful the beach is, or a mountain vista, or whatever, there is no world. And Jesus tells us here in A Course in Miracles that that indeed is the central teaching of this course. What this means is not that you should panic, not at all. Rather, what I hope is that you're relieved and overjoyed because you're at home in God. Ideas leave not their source. You, the thought of God, have never left your source. Yes, capitalize that S, will you? Please do that. Do that. It may have even greater meaning for you. What this well-known and often quoted passage from A Course in Miracles means is that thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker, and you're the thought of God. Where are you? What are you? Who are you? In truth. Exactly. Isn't this? So while we appear to be here, when we identify with the physical body, we're belittling ourselves. How about that? We're limiting ourselves, we're belittling ourselves, and we are devaluing ourselves to the nth degree. How completely unflattering, right? And how true. That's what's going on. We limit ourselves all the time. So we appear to be here as this thing. And even more limiting than that, we appear to be inside of this thing. And we even say, I'm in my body. But you're never in a body. What body? You're not a body. So, what do we do with this while we appear to be here and while we're on the path of awakening, which is where we find ourselves here in the world? So, as a practical matter, what do we do? Well, these first few paragraphs make it abundantly clear that, again, as we've seen before, we have a choice between two teachers. We choose one or the other. One is the ego, limitations, separation, guilt, blame, fear, death. And the other is the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, who is the voice for God, who speaks to us of who we really are. Which would you rather listen to? Not surprisingly, each sees the body in two diametrically opposed ways. The ego sees the body as a mechanism for attack, as a weapon, in other words, an attack device from which you snatch life from your brother before he snatches it from you. Really, this attack does not need to be physical to still be an attack. It can be a mental attack. You can think all kinds of nasty thoughts about somebody, which we do. We do this in the world. That's attack. It's separation, which, by the way, is attack. The ego sees the body as a means to get stuff. To get a big bank account, to call in a new car or a hot, sexy new lover for the weekend or for next weekend too, or maybe for the rest of this lifetime. The ego sees the body as a means to get stuff and attack. The Holy Spirit, on the other hand, sees the body as a means of communication, for communicating the love of God, for extending God's love, the miracle of forgiveness to your brother. Two very 180 degrees different approaches, two completely different views. The Holy Spirit views the body as a means of communication. What do we communicate? The Holy Spirit. We share the Holy Spirit with our brother. This is what's going on right now. We extend the Holy Spirit. We share the Holy Spirit with our brother. Because the Holy Spirit sees the body as a means of communication. This is a device that people can understand and relate to. It's not me. But while they think it's me, I'm using it as we're invited by our inner teacher to use it to teach those that think they're bodies that they are not bodies. Use the body to teach that you're not a body. That's what each and every one of us is invited to do. So, yeah, that's it. That's the invitation for us. Now, how do we do this? Well, we do it under the guidance of our inner teacher. So at this point, it's plain to see how important this connection is, how important it is that we get in touch with our inner teacher and allow our inner teacher to run the show. We give the body over to our inner teacher for his purposes. 100%. Our thought, our entire experience. We step aside, and what happens? The light takes over. When people see someone and they can relate to them, when they see love and joy, they see themselves. When you experience aha moments here, when you have something land, you're recognizing yourself. It's our inner teacher that's speaking to us, and we don't have to seek out there for our inner teacher because our inner teacher is inner. It's a part of our mind, the part of our mind that speaks truly of who we all are. It is this part of our mind that we're invited to allow in. When we get out of the way and let our inner teacher take over, we go forth and bring light. We bring the love of God to every single living thing, and they recognize it in you. We're recognizing ourselves. There is no separation of any kind. So what appear to be 8 billion of these communication devices, and that's just what we call human beings. There are many more living things here in this world. When we have something land, we're listening to our inner teacher. We go forth and bring the love of God to every living thing. They see a physical body. At first, that's what we can relate to. But it's entirely possible to go forth and share the Holy Spirit with everyone and not believe that you're a physical body, because we're not. We quite simply are not. So of itself, the body is nothing. its only value is in the way that we use it for God, the way that we use it to extend love to our brother. That's its only value. Used in the service of the ego, it's utterly valueless, of course. Of itself, I mean, it's an 80% sack of water that doesn't last. It doesn't last. It decomposes, dries up, withers up, and it's gone. The Son of God is not finite. The Son of God doesn't have a lifespan of 80 to 90 calendar years here on planet Earth. If we're lucky, it could be much less than that, couldn't it? But we don't actually know how long that's going to be. It's not you. The Son of God is not limited. The Son of God is not finite. So use this mechanism as a way to communicate love, as a way to communicate the Holy Spirit. That is the message to all of us. So this paragraph, actually this section, contains many paragraphs. Today we're just going through the first 3. There are many more, and there's a lot more to say. So we have a lot more to discuss on this topic of the body and the real use of the body. We're so identified with the body that it makes up our entire world. Everything that we do, when you really deeply allow yourself to think about it, is for the comfort and pleasure of the 80% water sack of organs and stuff. Everything, our homes are to protect and comfort this communication device. Our economic systems are to comfort this communication device through the highly illusory idea of money, which is just an idea. Well, guess what? This body is just an idea as well. It's just as ephemeral as figures in a bank account. It is no more solid than that. It's nothing. So while we appear to be here, we can put it to the only possible good use that it's capable of. And that's to teach, to share the love of God. You don't have to be a teacher, as I am, by the way. You extend love in whatever way you are instructed, inspired to do by your inner teacher. Not everybody has to turn on the camera and microphone and broadcast to a worldwide audience. That's my own particular directive. Yours may look completely differently. And that's a good thing, because there appear to be 8 billion of us running around here. There are people out there that will respond best to your message. In other words, you're the one best equipped to reach them. So the more people join us, the better, the more expansive the reach. It's really important. And this is something that I've always found encouraging on those inevitable days where it doesn't feel like any of this is working. Because those days do come up, don't they? We just have days where we want to just take the day off because none of this seems to be working and we're frustrated for one reason or another, etc. It's always worth thinking that there are people out there that only you can reach. Because it's true. So it's something that you might choose to use to keep going. Also, are you a more forgiving, loving person today than you were when you started out? no matter how long that's been. That's another powerful way to keep going, is to honestly take a few seconds and assess and look around and think, oh, yeah, I am calmer. I'm more chill. I'm more confident. I'm more loving. I'm more forgiving. I'm more joyful. I laugh more. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Your comments and questions are most welcome here. This is a giant sticking point for many students of this course, this notion that you're not a body, because you are not. This is nothing. It is literally a pixelated image on your screen. This is one that goes completely opposite to our conditioning in the world. So expect resistance. If you're just joining us, welcome. Expect resistance. What resists? The ego resists. If this idea seems ridiculous to you, it's the ego telling you that it thinks it's ridiculous. The ego is afraid, it's fear itself. You're here because you want to set it aside. In other words, you want what we all want, the peace of God. And at some point, you've heard the call of our inner teacher and you have listened. That's why you're on the spiritual path, whatever the outward forms of that may look like for you right now. We're invited to connect with our inner teacher and allow him to direct everything. That's us setting the ego aside. So we're all invited to do this. Again, comments, questions, I would love to have them. Part of the benefit of having a channel such as this is that it gives people all over the world the opportunity to discuss things, to talk about their study and practice of A Course in Miracles and spirituality in general. And there is no such thing as a question that is too basic or too beginner-ish. Those are oftentimes the questions that you should most definitely ask. Ask those, because there might be somebody who's been studying this material for 20 or 30 years who would really benefit from your asking a question. There's nothing too basic here. So again, feel welcome to leave those. The subscription button is right over here in the corner. Go ahead and click on that. We would love to have you join us. Thank you to all of you who have recently subscribed. What happens here is, for the sake of consistency, I record 5 or 6 of these a week, and I just post them one day at a time here. Plus, consistency is important, but we're also going through the text of A Course in Miracles. We're on chapter 8 of 31, so we have a lot more to say. And there's a lot more to say on this particular section of the body as a means of communication. You'll find on the path that this is an idea that we need to revisit over and over and over again. I am not a body. I am not a body. I'm free. Oh, yeah. For I am still as God created me. Yes. Just that. Yes to that. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you soon.